Well, hello everybody, Jamie the Board Game Man here. In today's episode, we're going back to the year 2013. Check out this player count. 2 to 13 players for this game. And in this game, the more players you have, the greater this game is. It's ages 10 and up. It is from Repos production. It is called Mascarade. Now in this game, you're trying to get to 13 gold coins. Unless you're one of these special characters, if you can pull it off, you can win with only 10 coins. There's some memorization, there's some luck, and there's also a lot of bluffing in this game as well. So let's head on over to the Gamers Table, where I'm going to show you how to play Mascarade. Alright everybody, here we are at the gaming table. Here is Mascarade. Let's check it out. So what you see here is the components of the game. You're going to have some player aids that allow you to keep track of what each character does in the game. You also have your instruction booklet, which is right here. Very nicely done. You also have the character cards. You'll have 13 of them, one of them being blank. You also have these little, these are kind of like a player aid too. This kind of reminds you of whatever characters are in the game. You would kind of put this in the game to kind of remind them what each of them does along with this. So you'll definitely have no problem remembering what each character does by having a player aid and also having this out as well. You also have the coins. This is the basics of the game right here. That's definitely what you're going for in 1, 5, and 10 increments. And you also have the courthouse, which I'll go over right now in just a few minutes. I just want to show you the components of the game. And now we're going to go ahead and show you the setup, and then I'll go over the gameplay. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you in the book what they recommend. It depends on what characters are in the game, depending on how many players there are in the game. So what you do is they have a cool little player aid here. And it actually shows you this, on the top, the number of players. And the red dots recommend those are the characters they want you to play in the game. Now, obviously, once you play this game a few times, you can put in whoever you want. But in this case, we're going to do a 5-player game here. So you're going to see here 5. It's actually going to ask for the judge, the bishop, the king, the queen, the witch, and the cheat. So we're going to go ahead and do that. This is the setup of the game. So first and foremost, everyone's going to start off with 6 coins. So we're going to go ahead and do 5 players here. Each player is going to receive 6 to start off the game, like so. Okay, we'll do that. Just like this. So every player is going to receive 6. We're going to put this over here. The courthouse will be placed over here. And here are actually the character tokens here. You're going to place these here. These are the 6 that are going to be in the game. And here are the 6 right here. We got the cheat, the bishop, the judge, the witch, the queen, and the king. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and shuffle these up like so. And each player is going to receive one of these to begin with, face down. So everyone's going to go ahead and receive each one of these, okay? And then the 6th card is going to go ahead and be placed in the middle, okay? That's how that's going to work. This player has this player has this player has this, and this, okay? And that's how that works, okay? Now everyone's going to go ahead and flip over their card, and now you're going to know exactly who you are, at least for now. So you say this player, all the cards are now face up, like so, even the middle card. Now you're going to go ahead and look at this for just about a minute or so and remember who you are, okay? We got the judge, the witch, we got the queen in the middle here, we got the king, bishop, and cheat. After that, everyone's going to go ahead and place their cards face down. And now the game begins, okay? So the first 4 plays of the game, you must swap a card with another player. Now, what we mean by that is, well, maybe you're not going to swap. You just don't know. And that's what's cool about this game is I'm going to say this is the first player. I'm going to say I want to go ahead and swap with player number 3. So I'm going to take his or her card and put them under the table. Okay. Now, obviously, in this game, you cannot have a glass top table. You can see right through it. You want to make sure you have a table where you can actually have privacy and you're going to put them under the table, and it's going to be up to you whether do you swap the card or do you not. And that's where the intrigue goes. You don't know whether I switch cards with you. So all I know is who I have. So I'm going to go ahead and do this swap, so to speak. I might not have done a swap, but you just don't know, okay? The first 4 turns in the game must be swaps, okay? They must be. 5th player comes around, they can actually do 1 of 3 things. Okay, let's go ahead and see what those 3 things are. You can either swap your card, which shows on the player aid here. You can see on the top of the player aid, it actually helps you decide 1 of 3 things that you can do. You can either swap a card, okay, just like all the other players did. You can actually look at your card secretly. So I say I don't know who I am, I want to look like this. I'm going to see who I am, I'm going to place it back down, and that is your turn, that's it. Or you can announce your character, all right? You can actually say, I am so-and-so. And if you are correct, then you get to do the power that is on the bottom of that card. Oops, I forgot to turn this upside down. Okay, this goes upside down as well. And what you can do when you swap a card, you don't necessarily have to swap it with another player. You can swap it with the card in the middle as well, all right? Okay, so let's go over what happens when you announce a character. Let's just say this player here says, I am the king, okay? Each player in the next turn down, so on your left, the player on your left, each player gets to announce whether they believe they are the king, or they can just simply pass, because maybe no, I'm not the king, I definitely don't think I'm the king, and they can just say pass. It goes from player to player, and they can say whether they are the king or not. If no one challenges me, let's just say I said I'm the king and no one challenges me, you can see right here the king is worth 3 coins. So I would automatically get 3 coins, and I would not have to show that card. I get the 3 coins, and you move to the next player. What if somebody else decides to challenge me? Let's just say this player says, I am the king also, and then no one else says anything. Then both players must flip their cards. Well, guess what? I was telling the truth. I am the king, so I get to activate the power that's on the card, which in this case is plus 3 coins. So I would get the 3 coins from the bank, just like that. And now this player, since this player challenged me and are wrong, it's going to cost them 1 coin, and you're going to place it into the courthouse. Okay, and that's how that works. When you get money in the courthouse, that's when you activate the judge. If you're the judge would actually get the money out of the courthouse. So say the next player said, I'm the judge, and no one else says they're the judge, or if somebody else says they are, once you do the judge, then you take all the money out of that courthouse and place it into your bank. That's what the judge does there. Then what this player happens with this player here, since that is the next player in line, no one has a way of saying, well, no, you're not the witch. So what you do is when you flip over your card, when someone else on their turn, let's just say he's the king and I am the next player. I am the immediate next player that showed my card because I was challenging him. I must do a swap. Now, that doesn't mean that I have to swap the card, but I have to do the swap action. So let's just say since I just showed my card and I'm the next player, I have to say, okay, I'm going to swap with this player. I do the whole thing. Do I swap or do I not swap? You don't know, but I have to do the swap action if I'm the immediate next player showing my card. All right. Now, what you're trying to do in this game is you're trying to get to 13 points or 13 coins. That's what you're trying to do. That is the goal of this game, is to get to 13. Once you get to 13 on your turn, you win the game. Now, let's go ahead and go over what these are. Let's go over what each one of these does in this game. We're going to start with the judge. If you claim that you are the judge, and you are the judge, okay, you get any coins that are in the courthouse. That's where the courthouse comes into play. So every time someone guesses wrong, like I'm the king or something, they miss one, they put $1 in the courthouse. So if you say I'm the judge and you're correct, you're going to get any change. If there's a few more ones in here, you get all the change that's in the courthouse. And that becomes yours. That's what the judge does. The witch, what the witch does, which is really cool about the witch, is they swap their entire fortune with that of another player of their choice. So say I have 5 over here, and I say, I am the witch, and all of a sudden I'm the witch. Well, guess what? I'm going to go ahead and swap over here. He has 9 coins. So I give him 5, and then all of a sudden I get 9. Okay, that's what the witch does there. You completely swap out what you have with another player. This one here is the king. This is simple, the one I showed you earlier. It just gives you 3 coins. In the middle, we have the queen. What they do is she gives you 2 coins, as you see in the bottom left-hand corner there. You also have the bishop. What the bishop does is if you claim you're the bishop and you are correct, then you get to take 2 coins from the person who has the most coins on the table. So for instance, looks like if you say, I'm the bishop, I have the most coins over here with 9. I would have to give them 2 of my coins. Okay, that's what the bishop does, is takes 2 coins from the person with the most coinage. And then the last one that we have in the game is the cheat. Now the cheat can actually win the game with only 10 coins. So in this game, you're trying to get to 13. But if you're lucky enough to say, I am the cheat, you are correct, and you have 10 coins in your possession, you win the game. So this is a pretty powerful card too. You have to have 3 coins less than everybody else. So that is really cool as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple of the other characters that are not in the game that you can add later on if you have more players, or let's just say, after you play this game a few times, you want to kind of mix it up a little bit, then that's the way to go. You have the peasant. Now there's a couple of the peasants in the game. There's actually 2 of them in here. So later on, you can actually have 2 different players. Here's the peasants. There's actually 2 peasants here. Okay. And what the peasant does is you receive 1 gold coin, and if 2 peasants are revealed, then each receive 2 gold coins. So that's pretty cool too. So if someone says, I'm the peasant, and then someone else goes, well, I am the peasant, then you have two people that get 2 coins. If only one person said they're a peasant, no one else said it, then you would get 1 coin. So that's what the peasant does for you. Okay. The next one is the widow. Now what the widow does, which is pretty cool, receives coins from the bank until they have a total of 10. So that's pretty good. So if you say, I am the widow, and you have 7 coins, guess what? You get 3 more coins from the bank to make your total at 10. And then, of course, at that point, you hope you get the cheat. Then you end up winning the game. So there is the widow. Next one is the thief. The thief, what they do is they take 1 gold coin from both adjacent players. So I say I'm the thief, and I'm this player here. I take 1 from this player, 1 from this player. That's what the thief does. And look at the art on these. I mean, the art is really amazing on these cards. They did a fantastic job on the art, by the way. Then you have the spy. Now, the spy is pretty cool. You get to looks at their card and another, and then swaps them or not. So I can choose to say, I want to look at your card over there. I look at both cards, and then I do a swap, so to speak. And I can really do a swap, or I can fake the swap, just to make that player uneasy. Oh, now do I still have my card or not? So that's what the spy does. Next, we have the fool. Now, the fool, what the fool does is gets 1 gold coin and swaps or not 2 cards other than their own. So that is a pretty darn good thing too. So you get 1 coin, and then you swap 2 cards other than their own. The next one is the Inquisitor. Now, the Inquisitor is a pretty fascinating card here. What the Inquisitor does is he points at another player who must guess who their character is. If they guess wrong, then you give the Inquisitor 4 gold coins. That is a big one. That's a big one right there. And of course, if you guess right, then the Inquisitor doesn't get anything. So, but yeah, that's a pretty solid card right there. Now, the Beggar is pretty much a blank card. You can make this whatever you want. So when you play this game a few times and you want to spice it up a little bit, you can make this whatever you want it to be. So that's why there's a 1 blank one, which is, I think that's kind of cool. It opens up the game that much more, so you can change this to whatever you want it to be. So that's just a blank card. Okay. And I love the insert of this box too. The insert is they actually took the time to make the insert really, really nice. Here's the actual insert of the box. Isn't that cool? So they even took the time to do the art inside the box as well. All right. And that, my friends, is Mascarade. So what you do, and just a quick little summary, is you actually get to do one of three things on your turn. You can actually swap a card, which means you might not, but then again, are you? Okay, you can look at your card secretly, that way you know who you are. Or you can announce a character and then activate the power that's on that card. And the first player to 13 coins on their turn wins the game, of course, unless you're the cheat. And you can pull that off, then you only need 10 coins. And that, my friends, is Mascarade. Now let's head on over to the game room, and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so my final thoughts on Mascarade. What a cool game. What a very, very cool game. I'm going to go right off the top, right off the bat, and give this a thumbs up. This is a really great game. First of all, I love the art on the cards. The cards look beautiful. I love that you can actually be the cheat, which is right here, and you can actually win by only having 10 coins instead of the 13 coins. What a great concept. I love that when you trade with somebody or swap with somebody, you can put it underneath the table, and you can actually say, you know, I'm going to keep my card. Or I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to trade that card. Or you can bluff your way through where you can say stuff and say, okay, here you go. And maybe give the same card back to him or her. And they won't even know. They have no idea. Once you swap with somebody, all of a sudden you're like, oh boy, okay, do I still have the king? Or now do I have this card? And if someone else will swap with that person, you're swapping. And swapping is a real big part of this game. Because once you swap, then the questionable things start going in your mind like, okay, am I still the queen? Am I still the bishop? Am I still the cheat? You just don't know until you actually... Now, you can take a turn, like I said in the tutorial, you can take a turn and look at that card, but then the next player might go, well, now he knows what that card is. I'm going to go ahead and swap with him. Now you don't know what that card is. So I don't know about looking at the card is really the best thing unless you're lucky and no one else thinks about swapping with you, and now you know exactly what card you have. So, I mean, if you're lucky enough, you might be able to pull that off. But I think once somebody sees their card, I think you're kind of like, hey, I'm a target. Now I know what I am. So, but I love that the one card that might not be good to be is the judge. Because, okay, yeah, you might that one time, you might be able to get those couple coins that are at the courthouse when they guess wrong. But then after that, you're like, okay, I need to get rid of this card somehow. Because now I don't want to be the judge anymore, because then you're stuck with the judge and there might not be any coins in there because no one's really announced a character for a while. So that's the only card that you might want to go, Then you got the bishop, which is a great card where you can actually take 2 coins from the one that has the most coins. So once you start getting closer to that 13, then you also start getting a target because your coins are out in the open. So everyone knows how much each person has. Oh, this person's got 10, and this person's got 11. Uh-oh, they're getting really close to winning the game. And if you have the bishop card, you're hoping you can utilize it and say, yes, I'm the bishop, and then actually take 2 coins from that player, bring them down a little bit. So, but that's if you even know you're the bishop, because maybe you might think you are, and then you're not, and then it's going to cost you a coin to put it into the courthouse. What a great game. And I really think the more players you have in this game, the better. There is a variant in there for the 2 to 3 players. But I really think, I mean, I like that the book actually shows you, kind of helps you. If you have 6 players, these are the characters you want to use. Now, once you've played this game a few times, you can pretty much put any characters you want in there. Except for the judge is the only one that has to be in all the games, obviously, because if you guess wrong, a coin goes in the courthouse, and there has to be a judge in order to snag those coins out of the courthouse. So that's pretty much the only character you have to have in every single game you have is the judge. After that, you can jumble whatever you want. But it is cool that the instruction booklet does show you, if you have 8 players, these are the recommended characters you want in the game. And you don't want to forget that you want to have 1 or maybe 2 cards in the middle of the table as well. Sometimes you might forget. You're going player to player, and sometimes you might forget, hey, there's that card in the middle. That's the queen or that's the king. I can get 2 or 3 coins just from that card alone. See if I can maybe finagle that, or maybe I can fake a swap and someone will actually think I have it. It's a great game. All the way around, it's fun. And the replayability is through the roof. I mean, it really is. I mean, you can have 6 players, 8 players, 7 players, 4 players. It's different every time because you're going to have different characters every single game. And there's enough characters where you can play quite a few times where it will never be the same. So I think it's a great replayability game to have. And let me know if you have this game. And let me really know if you've actually played with all 13 players. I think that would be fascinating if you have 13 players. I think that would be really, talk about mayhem in the Mascarade Ball. I mean, that would be just, oh my goodness. So let me know if you've played this game, first of all. And if you've played with all 30, if you can get 13 people to show up and actually play this game, I mean, talk about a riot. So, but I just want to say that I'm definitely, like I said earlier, I gave a thumbs up to Mascarade. This is a great, great game. I highly recommend you find it. I mean, even if you have 4 or 5 players, it is still a lot of fun. I don't want to down the lower player counts because it is fun. Even if you have 3 or 4 players, each player will have a character, and then you might have 1 or 2 in the middle. So you still have that, what am I, who am I, do I have this character, should I go for it, it's going to cost me a coin, should I do it, I mean, and who I am, who am I just think it's great. And I like that the first 4 turns of the game, you must swap. If you're the next player, like say I announced I'm the judge, and then the next person that was next, say the judge also, we flip our cards over, obviously that person must do a swap. So that's one thing, the only thing in the rules that you really got to remember is if that immediate next player flips their card over, obviously they know what their card is, they have to do an immediate swap. They have to do a swap. So that's one thing you want to keep in mind if you're the next player and you really think, I mean, you really got to remember to know that maybe you are that player, but remember that you're going to have to swap right afterwards. So just little things here and there you got to remember. Overall, it's a very easy game to learn, and I hope I taught it well to you. And thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the episode of Mascarade. And until next time, everybody, happy gaming.